Can you really fly a drone 19,000 feet up in the air? I mean, that's what the DJI Air 3 says it can do, so why not? The truth is, you legally cannot fly a drone that high in the US. But then the real question becomes, where does the FAA draw the line? Are there exceptions? Does it matter if you're flying recreationally or commercially? And what do terms like AGL or MSL mean? Well, if you're anything like me, when you first got a drone, all you wanted to do is fly the drone high, take cool photos and videos, and not break any rules. So let's answer this age-old question of how high you can really fly a drone. Hey, it's Adam with UAV Coach, a leading drone education company. Let's first start with what your drone can do. DJI lists maximum takeoff altitudes in the thousands of feet. For example, the DJI Air 3 can technically reach over 19,000 feet. It sounds impressive, but that doesn't mean you're allowed to fly that high. Think of it like a car. It might be able to go 130 plus miles per hour, but the speed limit is much lower. Another catch is that the 19,000 foot number is measured as MSL, or mean sea level. The FAA rules are based on AGL, or above ground level, which means the distance from your drone straight down to the ground. So if you're in Denver, for instance, which already is a mile above sea level, then the Air 3 could still climb another 14,000 feet. But again, just because it can doesn't mean you should. The FAA states that recreational pilots are allowed to fly at or below 400 feet AGL in Class G, or uncontrolled airspace, or fly at or below FAA authorized altitudes in controlled airspace, like Class B, C, D, or E, only with prior FAA authorization by using Lance or the FAA drone zone. So for example, if you open up a Lance app like Autopilot and see this 200 number, that is the highest altitude you would be able to fly in that area. For commercial pilots, the same rules apply with a very important exception under Part 107.51. If you're within a 400-foot radius of a structure, you can fly up to 400 feet above the structure's immediate uppermost limit. So if you're inspecting a 1,200-foot tower, you can legally go up to 1,600 feet AGL as long as you stay within 400 feet horizontally. And in that same example, you might start in uncontrolled airspace, but as you climb higher, you could enter controlled airspace. If you do, you'll need FAA authorization before flying there. And you would also most likely need to get a beyond visual line of sight waiver. Another thing to keep in mind is how the FAA defines what a structure is. They do offer an extensive list, but for the most part, it's everything from towers, buildings, antennas, bridges, silos, and also things like stadiums, wind turbines, lighthouses, and even amusement park rides. Basically, if it's built or assembled, it counts. Natural landforms like mountains and cliffs do not count. And that's where things can get tricky. If you take off from a mountain or cliff, your drone starts counting altitude from 0 at that launch point. But as soon as you fly out over a valley, you could be hundreds of feet higher than you realize. That's exactly why the rule is written based on the terrain beneath your drone, not where you, the pilot, are standing. Some pilots argue that staying 400 feet above a cliff edge is like staying within 400 feet of a structure. Again, the FAA does not deem natural landforms as structures, so at most, that's a gray area. And it also doesn't protect you from dangerous conditions like turbulence or wind shear you'll often find in valleys. And even if your drone is capable of going higher, manufacturers like DJI add their own limits. The DJI Fly app, for example, caps altitude to around 3,280 feet above your takeoff point, no matter what. Finally, let's talk about safety, which is why all of these rules even exist in the first place. Even though your drone can technically fly higher, manned aircraft, like planes, can fly as low as 500 to 1,200 feet. So even if you push your drone past the limits, you're putting yourself, your equipment, and others at risk. The bottom line is that in most cases, the max is 400 feet above the ground. If you're a commercial pilot, you can go higher if you're close to a structure, but only 400 feet above its immediate uppermost limit if you stay within 400 feet horizontally of that structure. Next, Terrain can fool you, so cliffs, plateaus, and valleys are where pilots often break the rule without realizing it. The last point is that regardless of what your drone can physically do, always keep it within visual line of sight and well clear of manned aircraft. Keep this in mind on your next flight so you can continue flying safely and legally, and let us know in the comments if you have any further questions about this topic. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Until next time, blue skies and safe flying.